Everybody online. Yep, 5:30. If everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and call the Recreation Committee meeting to order. We'll start with roll call, and I saw Pete LaRue, Dave Wiegand, Michael Springer, Ryan Diederiksen, and Jason McCarthy, and I'm Todd Caruth. So it looks like everybody's on tonight. Has everybody looked at the agenda? And I think, Michael, didn't you have something you wanted to add to the agenda?
Yes, thanks, Todd. I would like to add the recreation millage that's on our November ballot as something that we should be a proponent of. So where you'd like to put that, I guess it would
Why don't we call that 7A?
Oh, yeah, new business. Very good.
Yep. Okay. Anything else to add, anyone? If not, we can entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Springer moves and LaRue seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, so that's done. Let's go to the meetings from the previous, the minutes from the previous meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them? If so, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion, we approve the minutes from July 21st, 2020.
Okay, anybody second?
Is Dave Wiegand with us or no?
Dave was on a minute ago. Did we drop him?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I wonder if Dave did drop off because I pulled gallery view and I'm not seeing him, but I know I saw him a minute ago.
Okay.
Yeah, he stood up and walked away for a minute. I don't know where.
All right. Well, this takes us to public comment. I don't see any public online. And I've been checking my email. I don't have any comments emailed to me. Has anyone received any comments from the public?
I have not.
I have not.
Okay, then we will go ahead and it looks like Dave just got back on. Dave, we're just finishing up public comments. Did you have anything? Has anybody from the public talked to you, or do you have anything to add? Anybody emailed you?
No, I'm good.
All right, so close public comment and move on to unfinished business. 6A, the bylaws update from the Planning Commission. Where we left off was Dave was going to type up the changes that we accepted from our lawyer and prepare those for the Planning Commission. Where are we at, Dave?
Hang on, I gotta flip the page here.
Okay.
They were reviewed by legal and they'll be considered by the Planning Commission at their August 12th meeting. So they've already been considered.
Okay.
And I believe the result of that meeting is they were sent on to the board. Let me look. Yep, they were sent to the board, recommended for approval.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we're done with the bylaws and we've been working on that for a while.
Just a question for Dave. Do you know if that's on the agenda for the board tonight or no?
Oh, check.
I don't.
Okay. Good luck.
Okay.
No, they didn't make it to the board packet this time. They'll go up with the next meeting.
Not there.
Jason.
Aye.
Let's move on to 6B, Schwimwood Park Trail Kiosk Map Lamination. Jason, you said we were going to be able to take a few of the funds and get the maps redone and potentially laminated. Are we still working on that?
Yeah, I don't know if Ryan had time to explore that or not.
Yeah, one of the four kiosk maps are laminated, the one that had the water damage. I'm just waiting on, I went and GPS the new Schwimwood connector trail. So I'm going to add that to the current maps, and then those are going to be laminated and put out there before the weekend here.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. That sounds good.
Nice.
Then we move on to 6B, Schwemmwood Park Trail Connector. Any kind of report on that?
Yeah, for the most part, it's been installed. There may be some additional tweaks. I'm not sure if the footbridge has been repaired or not yet. Perhaps Ryan knows. I know he GPSed the new route. But effectively, that project is moving along.
Great. Ryan, do you know anything about the footbridge?
I went out there to GPS it with NTN, and Mike made a comment about the bridge, how they were going to have help out there on the trail. They're trying to come up with some ideas as far as how they can fix it up, but they are planning on fixing it up and trimming along the edge there.
Okay.
So it'll be a part of it.
Thank you. Does anybody have any more questions about the trail connector before we move on? If not, we'll move to 6D, the non-point source water project funding. Michael, do you have some comments for us on that or any updates?
Well, yeah, I'm excited to inform you that the board had a special meeting last week and moved that forward. And so we sent in our notice of intent, thanks to Superintendent John Kangas, and work that Jason McCarthy and Carl Lindquist did on that. So we got to wait about another week or so to find out if they want us to submit a full proposal.
Great. That's really good news. Okay, does anybody have any questions for either Michael or Jason before we move on then? I'm assuming you'll give us some more updates as things progress. Pull us in if you need us. 6E, Lions Field Ice Rink Roof Concept Discussion. I put this back on the agenda. We had said at the end of winter, we had said we would move this back on about August so we could just discuss it again and see where we're at. Dave, do you want to lead a discussion on this for us?
Yeah, I would just think with the budget where it's at and the funding sources being so unreliable, if we don't come up with some grant money and a good solid way of getting the matching funds without dipping into our budget, I think that's going to be on hold for a while.
Okay. We can drop it off the agenda again and bring it up several months from now, just to kind of keep it on the radar. What I've been doing is just drop it at the bottom of the agenda as a future item.
Yeah, I wouldn't think until we get through this budget cycle, which is due to be done in the middle of December, that would even be on the radar to be discussed.
Okay.
Jason, you might want to chime in on that, but that's the sense I get.
Yeah, things are tight, but it brings the question 7A on our agenda tonight, which is that ballot language. If that was to be approved, that would definitely give us some flexibility to make some recreation improvements in the community.
Okay.
That wouldn't be until the 2021 construction season though, and I would hope that we would try and use that for matching funds and work on some grants so that we don't have to spend it all in one spot.
Well, I think without objection, I'm going to move that to, I'll just make a note and move it to January. And we'll discuss again in January unless you guys think we should bring it up any earlier.
I bring it back in November.
What?
Right after the election, be a good time to take a look at whether that millage passed or not.
Okay.
If the
Dave,
millage
do you
passed,
have language handy? I know you read it the other day.
I do. It's part of the report here. I can.
Because one of the things that it doesn't, I think it's mostly just for maintenance, isn't it?
No,
It also includes.
I can read the millage language.
Yeah, that would be good. Thank you.
It says, the millage language says, shall the authorized millage for the charter township of Marquette be increased by a new millage in the amount not to exceed 0.5 mils, 50 cents for each $1,000 of taxable property value for a period of 2 years from 2020 to 2021, both inclusive, for the purpose of continuing to provide public recreational activities, opportunities is the one we're hinging on, and staffing levels for facilities for township residents. The estimated revenue the township will collect in the first year if the millage is levied is $138,036.
Okay.
So opportunities is the one that you would be using matching funds for.
Okay.
But obviously, don't think that if that passes, there's going to be $138,000 sitting there, because a lot of that is going to be used to offset into the maintenance costs for the recreation facilities.
And to bring back a third person, as I understand we have 3 people now, but they're going to be cut.
No, we have 2 people now, and
No.
we're not going to put the third person on if the millage don't pass, because the budget won't support it.
Okay, thank you.
And that person is going to cost about $62,000
So
to put another person on.
Okay.
It's a big chunk of that, doesn't it?
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for the report. That's good information. Is there any other discussion you want to do on 7A, Michael?
I do not. No, that's the only thing is that, the road committee, in order to get a millage passed, they had community meetings, and of course things are different now. Those are physical meetings, and we had stuff up around the boardroom. And so I'm just thinking that somehow our rec committee needs to support this, and somehow figure out a way we can publicize the need for this. And it just seems like that would be a good idea for us to be behind this. So let's put it on the next agenda, and let's do some brainstorming about what can we do to promote this millage.
I think you're making a good point. Even our meetings, we used to have.
Get a minute.
I'm sorry, Dave, could you repeat that?
Just with Mike's comment, you got to remember that this is a board millage thing, and if you want to start doing some promoting for it, you're going to actually need to request the board and get their blessing to move ahead with the promotion of this. If you jump right in and do it, you're going to step on.
So can we make some kind of a consensus that we move to the board and ask them for a role in promoting this?
Bring it up tonight's board meeting if you want.
Okay, I can do that. So there's a good committee's behind this then.
Yeah, and I guess the way I would approach the board is just make a comment that the rec committee met tonight, and they were like to know if there's something they could move forward to do the promotion for the millage. And if we can get the board's blessing, then we can sit down and see what we want to do at the next meeting.
So who's doing the recreation report at the board meeting tonight?
I am.
Good. That takes care of me.
I would use the term creating awareness.
There you go. Thanks.
Okay. Just a quick question, because I've noticed we used to have a smattering of public that would come to our meetings. A lot of times people that were presenting for a reason, but since we went virtual, we haven't had even public comments through email with the Recreation Committee. Has the board seen people getting on, zooming into those meetings? Have people been engaged?
We have a few every once in a while, but we don't very often, unless there's something on there that they're particularly interested in. We don't have anybody on.
Okay. Thank you. All right, well, that moves us on to our reports. We'll start with the board report.
Okay, most of which we touched on already. Board's had 2 meetings since our last rec committee meeting. We had one on August the 5th, and then we had an August the 10th special board meeting. At the August the 5th board meeting, the board approved additional costs for the solid waste recycling to be stored. The short explanation is the landfill is shutting down for recycling between September 1st and the middle of October. We have to store that. They're working on some storage space. The solid waste people are working on the storage space out at Sawyer, and we have to pay for the trucking to get it out there. It's about a $3,500 cost for about 6 weeks. The board did pass that. And then they did some work on that non-point source program. They did the notice of intent. They approved it at this meeting, pending legal review. And then they also had some discussion about the recreational millage, and they moved both of those items to an August 10th board meeting so they could talk about it and get it done before the deadline for both of them. And with that, we go to the August 10th meeting. And I just read you the millage. They moved to put that on the November 3rd general election ballot. I read the language on that. And they also moved they got the legal review back from Roger, and they moved to support the notice of intent, requires a $5,000 in-kind match, and Public Works believe they had that in-kind match covered with phase 2 of the Ontario Street project that they're already working on. And they think that's where that money can come from, or we can get credit for that money. And that was it for the 2 meetings.
On the solid waste discussion, were there any other options presented, or was that, we really didn't have much choice but to pay to have that?
The options presented was we could either pay to store it, or we could have the residents hang on to it, or we could not recycle.
Yeah, I don't think $3,500 is a huge amount to get it shipped for 6 weeks myself.
Yeah, but the discussion at the board was that if you have people try and hang on to it, they're going to send it out in their regular garbage anyway. They're not going to recycle.
Right.
And it just becomes problematic if you just don't pick it up as scheduled and just store it yourself.
Okay.
Just keeps everybody on the same page, and they just keep doing what they were doing.
Well, I think the board made the right decision. Let's move on to the Planning Commission report. Michael, do you have that for us?
Yeah, I got a couple things. I think Jason can fill in. But, you know, we're working on a marijuana text ordinance. We've been working on our bylaws. We got those passed at the Planning Commission bylaws. And while I'm mentioning that, I'm cleaning stuff out as I look through my materials to hopefully tonight there's going to be a new planning commissioner nominated or brought forth. And so I've been getting stuff together to give this new planning commissioner. And I found I found planning commission bylaws signed by Dave Wiegand from March 14th, 2018. Dave, neither you or I remembered that. It certainly wasn't on our website. So anyways, we worked on a bylaws that was 2 years old, but we updated it with Roger Zappa being there. So we've got a good set of, at least it's approved by legal. So I think we have a good set of bylaws.
Great.
So Jason, what's on the agenda for the next Planning Commission meeting?
Well, hopefully that medical marijuana and adult use recreational zoning text amendment is on there. I know Roger's pretty piled up with a number of things right now. And by the looks of it, it's going to be 2 separate board ordinances with some revisions to the zoning ordinance required in order to accommodate those, should they be supported by the board. Again, all this is predicated upon, the Planning Commission coming up with a plan and then giving it to the board for their consideration. Historically, the board has sided on the federal side of things and has gone as far as to put a moratorium in place for a number of years with regard to medical sales and head shops or whatever, things like that. We also discussed at the last meeting, I wasn't present, but having food trucks gain zoning compliance of some kind, having them be responsible to abide by the sign ordinance and other things like that, at the very least have a business license in the community. And then we talked about an engine brake or a Jake braking ordinance in the township as well. I don't know that we'll pursue that one much further. It's kind of an annoyance, but it's very difficult to enforce. I think if you talk to a number of people, including our oncoming manager, John Kangas, and his time with Ishpeming, they try to do it in Ishpeming too. And basically the state police and the sheriff's department told them they weren't going to enforce it. So it doesn't, we don't need to spend a bunch of time on something that's not going to be supported by, law enforcement. So other than that, the Fish and Wildlife Building is moving forward. We wrapped up, or we're hoping to wrap up the stormwater legal documents sometime this week. We've been working with our Fox Chevrolet on some lighting issues that they have. Lots of sign violations I've seen, so we're picking away at those. The TAP grant has been massaged, improved, and resubmitted based on some comments that we received from that grant team. I know Ryan's been working on permitting of fences and sheds and garages, so there's a cornucopia of things that we're working on a daily basis.
Sounds great.
You
guys do good work.
Regan, do you have anything to add about planning commission?
Yeah, just that we approved a public hearing for a short-term rental load at 600 Brickyard Road. That's for September the 9th.
Okay. How about Ryan? Do you have anything to add, planning commission wise?
Nothing on top of that.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate everybody on that. There's a lot of good information. Dave, let's move on to the road committee report.
There's not a lot of update on the road committee report. Everybody knows we moved the bylaws to the planning commission and they've moved them to the board. The only other thing we talked about is we had considerable discussion about street lighting, primarily within Trowbridge, to bring it in line with the ordinance. And the conclusion resulting from that discussion was that Pete LaRue will work with Ryan to identify areas that need trimming to remove obstructions for the lights. And then the planning will work on with BLT to facilitate that trimming. And the planning department will work to identify intersections within the Trowbridge area that are in need of lighting and those associated costs.
Perfect. Zoning and planning report.
Just gave it to you.
Kind of went through that. What'd you say, Jason?
I said we just gave it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much covered it all. Okay, let's move on to public comment. I'll just double check to see if I got any email. I haven't. Has anybody else? Okay, we'll move past public comment on to committee member comment. Pete, we haven't heard much from you today. Let's start with you.
Well, what's happening, my computer's coming in and going. It's not very stable. So the computer got me figured out better than I do. It's just, you're not stable. So I missed half of the meeting, so I'll have to go back and listen to it after, I guess. So I hope it don't continue on like this because I'd only get a couple words.
You got designated as the new chair of the committee.
No, I won't.
Unanimous vote.
Yeah, right. Oh, hell, eh?
Hey, Dave, do you have any comments?
No, I don't have anything.
Michael?
The only thing I'd like, and Jason could probably help me with this, I know that the board meetings and the planning commission meetings are on YouTube. But the rec committee and the road committee, I know I usually have to bother you to send me the location. Is there a way that we can just go there and is there a way we can put a link on our webpage or something that people can go and review those things?
Well, I guess it's a board question, really. I feel that during the lockdown here or whatever, I still feel like it's a lockdown. I've been tasked with getting Clerk Rattari the video. And as the clerk, it's up to him to what he does with that. If you would like a change to that and what is occurring, I would guess I would say, it should be brought to the board's attention, whether or not they want to post recreation committee meetings on YouTube.
Historically,
As far as it goes with getting it on the website, I know that that's probably frustrating that you can't go to a single source all the time. And I know that Andra is typically the one that uploads those. I'm not I guess, a web designer savvy person. I wish I was more, and I know I get asked a lot of questions typically when we're in the office about website stuff, but I'm pretty novice at that, and I don't care to even learn it, to be honest with you. But we have to have, and we can talk to John about that, just having a more regular update or refresh of the website and an easier way to do that. Now, it's not a difficult website to use, as I understand it, because it's built on a certain platform. Maybe Todd knows what that is, but
I don't know if you're using
It's the
WordPress.
file structure.
it's in WordPress, yeah. So it's a little bit easier, I know, than writing some code or something. But it does require you to grab the file, upload it, and name it properly, so that when you refresh the page, it comes up in a proper sequential order. So I can get with Andra, and I always say, here's the video from August 18th, and it's available for posting or publishing or whatever you need it for. So
It just, makes it, I mean, Dave and I do the minutes for the Rec and Road Committee, and that just knowing where I can go and just do it without having to bother you.
well, I always send it out pretty much,
Okay.
within the hour, because I just wait. It's got to convert, right? So that takes about
Okay.
an hour. So, I mean,
All right.
planning commission meetings do. These ones take about a half hour, but it's got to convert. And then I upload it to my personal, Google Drive. And then that's the only way to share it because the files are so large. So then I send you guys a link to a Google Drive,
Right.
and it stays on there. I mean, as long as I don't blow up my memory or my availability on my Google Drive, because I do use it for photography and other situations. So
Otherwise, we better start paying.
yeah, we're going to have to figure out if this is going to continue. Then we'll have to have a more succinct way of doing that, or have a township Google Drive account.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
But yeah, I appreciate the comment, Mike, and we'll work on fixing something.
Sure.
Dave.
Jason, you seem like you're kind of in the middle of it as far as getting it posted someplace. I wonder if it would be easier for Mike just to talk to Rotary and see what it would be to put a link out there so he could get it. Is that easier or no?
Hopefully Rotary doesn't see this, but I've asked Clerk Rotary a couple of times and I haven't got the kind of response that helped me out.
Yeah,
So,
I can poke Andrew too, and just say, hey, I need you to get these up, within 7 days. Or I mean, we have to post meeting minutes typically draft meeting minutes within 7 days. I know that hasn't happened consistently in almost 10 years that I've been here, but nobody's really challenged us on that either.
Was the guy
we are getting them done before the upcoming meeting. We get them done so we have the draft version for the next rec committee, which we have today.
And the committees have a month, whereas planning commission, you only have a couple weeks. So and then really only 10 days unless it's the end of the month or the second meeting, because you've got to get the packet out for the second meeting of the month, pretty much 10 days after the first meeting. So yeah, it's a challenge, but we seem to make it work. And I'll try to get Andrea to do that, because sometimes it just takes, motivating her to upload it, because she's fairly well versed in how to do it. It's just getting, having her have the time to dedicate, set aside to do that.
Great. Thank you, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I don't have any public comments tonight. Is there anything from staff?
Yeah, I do have one thing. Hopefully Randy doesn't see this meeting tonight, but Randy Gerard is retiring on Friday. And as such, we are going to have a potluck luncheon at the fire hall, kind of a surprise thing. So maybe park around back. We're not inviting too many people. It's just, township staff. We're used to having these potluck lunches. We haven't had one in a while, obviously, but typically in the summer, spring, fall, usually grouped around some birthdays. We always have a potluck where everybody brings a dish to pass. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of leftovers throughout the week. But in this case, Randy's going to be retiring. So at 12:30, maybe get there a little bit early. I'll probably go over there and walk him, try to walk him over there. I don't know, I might have to pick him up and carry him. I don't know what his schedule is going to be, but we'll try to get him over there at 12:30 and have a little bit of a surprise. Obviously, a guy who's, served Marquette County for about 40 years in public service deserves a little bit more than a potluck lunch. But given the circumstances, we're going to do what we can for him on Friday. So staff will take care of everything. I know some board members have offered to bring some stuff, and that's great, but we can handle it at the staff level. Just show up and, we'll try to make, hopefully the weather's nice. I haven't really checked the weather that far ahead, but if need be, we'll be inside in the engine bay. But if not, then, hopefully we'll just cook inside and then come outside, or hopefully be around back. So looking forward to it, and certainly he deserves all the kudos we can give him. So
Great. I'm glad you're doing that.
Absolutely.
Ryan, are you good?
I'm good. Hope to see you Friday.
Great. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. With that, we are, let's see, what time is it?
6.
6 o'clock. We're adjourned. See you guys later.
Hey, thanks everybody. Good night.
Good night.